mini skirt on, dip my body in glitter. Platform sneakers, all the boys want a picture. Two foreign cars, I make rich look richer. Save your breath, baby, I'm not going home with ya. Mini skirt on, dip my body. Hello.
You're now tuned into the A Little Bit A Lot podcast. I'm your host, Kristen, and welcome back to another week. This week, we are starting off the High School Musical series, and I am extremely excited. 1, 2, and 3 are all iconic films, and I felt like who better than to deep dive into this with than my favorite girl in the world, my sister, Janae.
Hi.
Oh my gosh, Janae, welcome back to the show. For those who listen, she already has the title of reoccurring cast member, so you guys know the tea. You're very familiar with Janae. And this film, High School Musical 1, 2, and 3, have had such a big impact on our childhood. We are truly like 2000s babies, like through and through. Both of us were born in the 90s, but growing up in the 2000s, this was our territory. And we really, really resonated. And I honestly feel like High School Musical got us through like a lot. Specifically that third movie, that DVD, when we didn't have cable.
We need to save that for the third movie episode.
No, I'm just saying, like, in general, to wrap up, like, how much it's gotten us through. Like, we were locked in the freak down. Yeah, so we really, really love High School Musical. And we were just like, we need to just do a deep dive, for all the day ones and really share our thoughts because of how much we love this film. Like, we have so many opinions that we were like, we need to share with the world. So let's get into it. We're going to be talking about High School Musical 1 in this episode, and then we will continue to do an episode for each film. So next episode will be High School Musical 2, and then the one after that we'll talk about High School Musical 3, because we both agreed that we have a lot of interesting things to say that it's like would be too much to try to fit in one episode. So I'm really excited for us to get into it. Yeah, no Doja Cat, as I always say. So let's get it really rocking and rolling. But before we get into it, if you guys are watching this episode on YouTube, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Make sure you give this video a like, comment down below to let me know what High School Musical film is your favorite and what are your thoughts about High School Musical 1. What are your favorite moments from this film specifically? And subscribe. I'm on my road to my first 700 subscribers. So thank you for smashing that subscribe button. Turn those post notifications on so you're staying up to date with each new upload. And if you're listening on Spotify and Apple, thank you. I appreciate you. Rate that 5 stars and leave a review to let me know what you think about the show. So when it comes to High School Musical 1, I feel like this movie was truly the first of its kind when it comes to Disney Channel. And I feel like it kind of set the tone for DCOMs like going forward. You know what I mean? I feel like if there was no High School Musical, we would never have Descendants.
I mean, yeah.
Like, she is the blueprint,
It's like, I don't know. I don't think it most likely wasn't, but like, was it the first like musical?
Yeah.
Live action musical, at least, for
A
Disney Channel?
the first Disney Channel musical, I think.
Well, there you have it.
Yeah. Teen Beach Movie. She tried.
You were a Teen Beach Movie stan. I was kind of like, I'm not vibing with this.
I know, and I just was so sad about that. I just thought we were gonna really have a equal bond on that front, and we didn't.
It just felt too much like a High School Musical dupe. Like High School Musical, the name, they kind of jacked off it a little bit.
Right.
Teen Beach Movie, High School Musical. Whack.
In case you wonder what it's going to be about, the title tells you.
Yeah.
No, that's funny. Okay, so we both watched the film. Let's just really get started with our notes that we have here, starting from the top. What do you have to say about your initial thoughts when the film first starts?
Well, the first thing I always think about is the fact that I remember watching this when it premiered. back when we were little. This is 2006, so I was like, 6. And I remember watching it with Kristen and my mom. And
Oh my
for some
god, I don't
reason,
remember that. Mom was in the
we had
cut.
the pull-out couch out for some reason that day, and
Oh, we
we were
were
doing
ready. We
we were
were
doing
ready
a
to get
little
cozy.
like living room vacation thing that we used to do sometimes. And yeah, I just remember like the legit premiere.
That's iconic.
Yeah.
See, I just love that memory of yours. Like, that is so cozy to me to be able to have the memory of the premiere. And there was nothing like sitting down and let's watch a Disney Channel movie. Like that
With
song coming
that
on.
kid doing the jump split.
Bro, he was gonna toe touch down every single time and you knew you were in for a freaking treat.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So, watching the film as an adult was a very different experience. And I was like, oh my God. I was telling Janae the other day that the movie feels so 2006 compared to the other two, you
It's
know?
it does feel a little more dated than the others.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. The other ones didn't come out too long after the first, but somehow those don't feel so. I don't know. But then again, I gotta watch. I
I
gotta still
mean,
watch.
the budget increased significantly, I'm
Hmm.
sure. So, yeah.
Right. But I forgot that this movie started off at a New Year's Eve party. Troy is playing basketball on vacation, and his mom is literally hashtag over it. She's like, "Get the freck on. We need to turn up. Get ready. You need to go to the teen party. Me and your dad are gonna turn up together and stop playing basketball." And then, of course, Gabriella. She's at this like resort as well on vacation with her mom. And what is she doing? Reading a book. Period. She's comfy, she's cozy, she's reading a book, and her mom's like, "No, you need to put yourself out there. You should go to the teen party as well." So both of them go to the teen party, and then everybody's chilling in the cut and they're doing karaoke. And then someone's like, "Hey, okay, we need somebody else to come up and do karaoke." Somehow, some way, spotlight goes on Troy, spotlight goes on Gabriella, and then they get pushed up to the stage together. And so Troy starts the song off, I believe. And the first note that I have here was Troy walking away to leave after his first verse before Gabriella even got a chance to sing is shady. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't see it as shady. I saw it as like, oh, he sees like this girl's obviously not with it, so he's like, whatever.
It's like, dang, you didn't even give my girl a chance.
I mean, she was
He
looking
did
like
his verse and immediately dipped.
yeah, because he wasn't really in it anyways. He didn't even really want to do it to begin with. But some of my notes I wrote, I couldn't wait when I was little. I always remember I was like, wow, I can't wait to grow up and go to cool teen parties at the ski slope someday. And that's yet to happen. I'm not a
No,
teen,
yeah.
so I can't go to a cool teen slope party. And I also don't think that I would want to ski and be at a ski resort anyways. I also put you said Gabriella, she was reading a book. And I was like, you know what? Reading a book at the ski lodge is kind of cunty. Like, I am kind of living for it. It's giving like I'm not like other girls. And I also put that I liked her tracksuit and her boots. I was
Yeah.
like, those, it's so cute. Like, ugh. And then also it's just like she's just so pretty. Vanessa Hudgens is just so pretty, especially like she's of course pretty now, but like especially in that first movie, like
She was
she
Gorgina.
was
She
a
was actually
stunner.
breathtakingly, stunningly. Like,
Yeah,
what? There was just something so much about like the innocence that she played up into for that role that just
yeah,
made her like even more ethereal. Like it was almost like she just had a constant glow throughout the entire
right.
film.
Like
That inner
I
corner highlight
truly,
was Poppington.
I can't imagine a better Gabriella.
Yeah, I agree. I can't. It's like every time I try to think of like anyone who could possibly do this better, it's just like she is made for that role. And you're right. I really did love the fact that she was like serving the house down boots literally the first time we see her. Like the cute little cozy comfy outfit was like everything.
Yeah. And also, actually, I will say, I said I can't imagine a better Gabriella. I mean, we got to shout out my Goyle, Olivia Rodrigo, on the shirt because she was in High School Musical, the series, which I did not watch. So I don't know if she was Gabriella, but I'm assuming that was her. She was one of the main characters. So I think that's what her role was. But
I'm not
shout out to
100%
my girl.
sure. Yeah, but shout out to Olivia Rodrigo. Um I don't know why I say her name like that. But yeah, I didn't watch High School Musical, the series either. Um, but yeah, I think
And oh, I was just gonna say, I just another thing I put in my notes. They said, "Why is Troy kind of moving his mouth weird when he sings?" It's like, um,
he couldn't lip sync to save his life.
yeah, like
RuPaul said, lip
the
sync for your life. Troy's not making it.
like the way he just. I'm like, what's going on? Why is he?
Hello?
Why is he doing that with his mouth? Um, and then I put, we need to talk about the absolute power vocal that Vanessa Hudgens is because, like, she was singing the house down, Iana. Like, her voice, like, she had to have been, I don't know how old she was when they were recording that movie, but, like, it had to be at least, like, 15, 16, maybe even 14, because, like,
Yeah.
that voice for that, like, young, not only is she gorgeous, not only is she freaking cute, but, like, she can also sing, and, like, she ate, honestly.
I do agree. Like, I feel like a lot of people need to give more credit to Vanessa Hudgens for the vocals that she was giving. I just looked it up. She was 18 at the time.
Oh, well, yeah, she ate. I love
Like,
that.
basically, what we're gonna do is dance.
Like, not too much of my girl and her solo career, because I'm gonna bump them. I'm gonna bump. You miss it, baby, and I can see that you talk about me.
Because one thing about it, like, we did stand her solo career. We were ride or die.
I liked it more than you, I think,
That is
because
true, but like, I was like, I'm never gonna play on my girl though. Always have respect.
and then she had Zach in that music video. I'm like,
We were living for that.
the couple of the century.
Bro, I just literally right before we recorded this was on Instagram and on my explore page saw a picture of Vanessa and Zach on vacation together in like 2000 something, and they were like not to be parasocial, but like they were supposed to be in game.
Literally, like,
The chemistry
the
between
only
them
thing
off
that
rip is insane.
the thing that keeps me going is the fact that in another universe, Troy and Gabriella are happily together, and they've been together all these years.
I
Like,
know, and it's like not to be parasocial, but I just wish that maybe there's a chance, like uh, the slightest bit of chance that they could pull a Nelly and Ashanti and date, because Nelly and Ashanti dated like a long time ago and now they're together, like back together, married, have a baby. Like anything is possible. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I mean, it would be definitely a while from now because Vanessa just
She's
had a
married.
baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for the time that they were together, it was everything.
It was, man. And I just think that their relationship like truly gave the magic that it needed to give, because I think that they were like actually falling for each other as they were falling for each other. Their characters were falling for each other. So that was eatery, but every single thing about the introduction to Troy and Gabriella and their first moment meeting together was so cute. And then like once they get done singing and Gabriella gives in and she's like, okay, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. once they go off onto the like thing and they look at the fireworks together, like that was so magical. And their encounter together where they're like, hey, that was fun. Let me get your number. LOL. Taking the pictures of each other on the phone. I'm like, oh my
So
God.
cute.
Like that
I'm
was
like,
so,
I was like, I want to grow up and have my little ski slope romance like them.
yeah.
And then I also put in my notes, the Nokia and the flip phone.
Right.
I'm like, oh my God, 2006.
For
The
real,
fact
for
that
real.
I'm just, even though I'm like 1999, I'm glad that I still could experience like the Nokia and the flip phone of it all. Like, I feel like that was prime like technology. Like, I love a Nokia. I love a flip phone.
Yeah. And then like the way that Troy just like longingly stares at the picture that he took of Gabriella after she like
Gabriella.
whisks away. It was so cute. Like my girl
Yeah.
was not playing. She said, all right, well, I gotta go find my mom and dipped. Do you have any other things to say about like that first interaction moment, ski moment?
It's not about Troy and Gabriella, but I have in my notes I said, why is Troy's dad kind of dot dot dot? And I'm like, as an adult watching the movie now, I'm like, wait a
And he only
second.
gets hotter. He only
Wait a
gets
second.
hotter.
Wait a second. Run that
Wait a
back.
second.
Because
No.
I'd be like, respectfully, Troy, I don't want that. I want something else.
Heavy on because what the freak? I definitely like we've always felt that way.
I mean, I didn't.
What? I thought that we were
No.
under the mutual understanding that Troy's dad was hot.
No, I never saw him like that until I watched it just now. And I'm like, hold on.
When he hit that go boys, go boy in third
Yeah,
movie.
that was iconic, but I didn't think it was hot.
Girl, I've always been down bad for my like, are you
Oh,
serious? I've always thought that Troy's dad was hot.
well, I'm late to the party.
Maybe we'll go to the party. Yeah. He's definitely cute. So that was everything. And then once they get from vacation, it's time to go back to school after New Year. Gabriella being a new student after the New Year break has got to suck.
Right.
And I think it's really interesting now that we get to see Troy in his natural element, and then we get to see Gabriella. And coincidentally, she ends up enrolling at the same school that Troy goes to. And I think that it's really interesting how once they go back to school, they end up having the same class. So that's crazy.
Right.
And why did Troy, when he first saw Gabriella, of course you're like, okay, he's gagged. He's like, wait, is that the cutie girl that I saw at the freaking ski place? Like, it can't be. And he has the bright idea of calling her phone
Yeah.
mid class.
I feel like it was a good idea. Like, I think this might be her. Let's see.
But it's like, bro, like you couldn't even step out to the hallway and be like,
I don't
you
know.
just said click.
Yeah, I mean, it was Cirrus for him. It was Cirrus.
Yeah, but like mid class is insane.
Yeah, and I put in my notes, Corbin Blue, my husband, because notoriously a part of Janae lore is that I was very much in love with Corbin Blue for like a good 3 or 4 years. When
And
I
when I
was
say she
little,
was down for him, she was down.
like y'all weren't bumping that Corbin Blue album like I was. That very first Corbin Blue album,
Heavy on Corbin Blue's debut album,
like
CD.
mixed up, and I think I like it. Mixed up, and I think I like it.
The fact that
He wrote a song about being mixed. That's the most mixed thing I ever heard. He's a wash and go king because as a curly girl myself, I have a silk press right now, but my hair is usually when it's curly, it looks kind of similar to his. And like now that I'm like natural, well, I've been natural since for like 6 years now, but a lot goes into maintaining that and keeping that like fluffy, keeping it, correct. So he always had his wash and goes on point. So shout out to
Yeah.
him.
Shout out to my boy. Because I'm pretty sure nobody on set was helping him with that. Because the girl that plays Taylor talked about how they didn't know what to do with her hair. So I'm sure he
Right.
had his routine on lock and was able to maintain his own.
I wrote when Gabriella was first being like shown around the school, and she was like with her mom and the principal. She was like, "Mom, my stomach," and I'm like, "Girl, same." Gabriella is an anxious queen. Gabriella is an anxious queen, and like as if I couldn't love the character even more because she's like, that's just so me. Like my stomach was on 10 every day before school, even when I was in school too. Like,
Let alone being a new student like midway through the
right.
year, bro.
Like, if your stomach isn't hurting the day before your first and the day of your first day of school, like,
You ain't a real
the
one.
girls that get it. And Gabriella gets it.
Yeah. And then it's like as if her day couldn't be any worse. She was already nervous. She didn't want to be the freaky genius math girl or whatever. Her stomach was on literally 10. She wanted to literally scream, cry, and throw up. And then to make it worse, she gets detention on her first day because
Right.
Troy wants to call her cell phone.
At that point, I'd be like, come get me, Mom. Like, we're moving back. We need to move.
And then Miss Darby's gonna be like, Miss Montez, detention and welcome. Like, girl, F your welcome. F your freaking
Literally.
welcome. Like, skip you. Like,
Whack.
no. I was like, that is literally a L first day. L first day.
Literally. I also put in my notes, you that bitch when he calls all this conversation about Sharpay immediately was like mildly threatened by Gabriella.
I wrote
Like
that down in
on
my
the
notes.
first as soon as she laid her eyes on her, she was like, this girl is kinda she's scaring me a little. And I'm like, that's why Gabriella's that girl. Gabriella's that girl.
It's just so crazy how she has the least threatening presence of
Right.
any human being in cinema that I've ever seen. And Sharpay was like, threat.
Exactly.
Like, girl, I literally wrote that down. I said, Sharpay pressing Gabriella immediately after seeing her with Troy is hater behavior. And then, proceeding to look her up on Google is even stranger.
Yeah.
Girl, you Googled me?
Literally. Like, it's only literally my first day out here.
At that point,
And
Sharpay needs
speaking
a
of
psychological evaluation because what are you doing? You don't have
exactly
homework? You're taking the time out of your day. You have all this free time to Google
on
me?
the school computer too.
Right. That's
And then the way
insane.
that the page loads, the way like you remember that?
Yeah.
I miss that about old computers, old internet. Like the page would load from top to bottom. I miss that. I also wrote that I love that the only the main black girl of the movie was smart and like preppy. Like I love that.
Yeah, because they could have went the other route, which would be like total left field and just make her like the funny friend.
Right.
Like, no, we're prim, we're proper over here, and I want to be a president. I want to be a
Yeah.
female president, like energy. But the googling of it all was like, girl, it's just like watching it as an adult. It's like this is the tone that you're setting right now, Sharpay. You're crashing out over a man that's not even your man. Like that's not even your man.
Right. But like there's nothing better though than like being new at school and then there's see one person that you do know. Like that big sigh of relief. Like, okay, thank God I at least have somebody who's got my back in this school.
Yeah, and like having their first little initial conversation like after class was so adorable and
I
being like, "Oh my
know.
god, hey!"
Well, I don't believe it. Well, me either.
Like we're already
We're
finishing each
we're
other's
finishing each other's
sentences.
sandwiches. That's what I was gonna
I was gonna
say.
say, like, word to Frozen. Oh my god, it's so adorable. Oh, it's so adorable.
Yeah.
Something about that high school love just hits you, man. But then we're moving on, and now that Troy and Gabriella are like, okay, T, like, we go to school together, then the movie goes on, and then they proceed to somehow, like, Troy's journey naturally just stumbles into singing as the movie proceeds. And I think that he immediately kind of like goes into a frenzy right after Gabriella's arrival. and it causes him to kind of have an existential crisis
Yeah.
from her arrival. And I wrote down, a big conversation that I felt like I was grappling with while watching this film again was, does Troy actually love singing, or does he just love Gabriella? Because at this point, it's only been 1 week since he sang for the first time publicly, and he's so frazzled that he starts asking his dad for advice on what should he do if he wants to try something new and if his friends make fun of him for it.
I think that Troy realized that he has an interest in both for the first time ever. Like, I think he really felt something that he had only felt when doing basketball when he started singing. Like,
but it's like, is it Gabriella?
I think it's both. I think.
So you think he truly was like, I really love singing with this girl, but I also love singing?
Yeah. I also put, it's crazy how sprung Troy was immediately, to the point where he considered auditioning for the musical and spent his whole basketball practice thinking about Gabriella. Like, that's crazy how, like, she just had him, like, whipped immediately. Like, that was crazy.
Because that's a love at first sight team. Confirmed. Yeah, that does bring us into Get Your Head in the Game.
I did put seeing Corbin Blue's armpit hair was a big moment for me. I feel like I see a lot of people talk about that, though, where it's like being a young girl and then, like, in that scene where they're in the basketball and Chad, Corbin Blue's character, is like, they're warming up and he lifts his arm and stretches and you see his armpit hair, and all of us are kind of like, oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about that. I think that was like a lot of our first experience of like seeing like boy in that type of way.
Yeah.
So as young girls were like so confused, because I remember having that same type of feeling too. And the armpit hair scene of it all made me so uncomfortable for so long. And I'm like, it's just a pit. Like, why am I so about it?
Right.
But it made me realize how little I really like Get Your Head in the Game as a song, like as a number. I'm like, oh my God. And especially given the fact that I don't even think that Zac Efron even has a single note in this song. I think it's all Drew Seeley.
Yeah.
I'm like, girl.
I feel like Drew Seeley's voice doesn't really fit Troy. It didn't fit Zac Efron.
Yeah. And
like,
as a kid,
as an adult,
it was more
now
convincing.
You can see,
yeah.
Yeah.
Watching the movie as an adult is such an enjoyable experience for nostalgia of it all. But then every single time I hear Drew Seeley, it just constantly pulls me out of it. And right. I'm like, who made this decision?
Thank God Zac got it together and sang for the other two. But like, I would just love to hear. Somebody needs to do like an AI thing, put AI to good use for once.
No, we need somebody from Disney to pull the original files, because I heard that Zac had recorded everything and he didn't even know, allegedly, that he didn't even know that they were going to do that. So I'm under the impression that, I believe that's what I read or I heard, I forget the source, that he was like, oh, D, like that's what y'all are doing? Because can you imagine?
Right.
And you're like, well, I recorded that song. I recorded the song, and then they just don't use it. They don't use the vocals. If you happen to not know, when Zac Efron filmed the movie, a majority of his vocals were not used in the first movie. So they went ahead and used this guy named Drew Seeley. And when they did the High School Musical like live tour, Zac Efron wasn't on the tour because I believe he was filming Hairspray at the time. So then Drew Seeley was like, took place as Troy, since he pretty much did the entire vocals in the movie anyway. And that proceeded to make me obsessed with Drew Seeley for a while, though. I was like, wait, because then by the time Cheetah Girls came around and he was on the Cheetah Girls soundtrack, girl, I ate that down.
And then he was in that movie with Selena Gomez.
No, that, oh my God. Why am I still having this like actual like physical body reaction Girl, you could not tell me nothing about Drew Seeley in that movie with Selena Art Call My Hearts. Because there was that one scene, do you remember that? Where like she was dancing with him and it was like a wall that was separating them and they
Yeah.
couldn't see each other on the wall. That scene, I was like, girl.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Like, yo, you could not tell me nothing. I'm like, wow, that man is fine, fine, fine. Drew Seeley stand down. So at the time, I'm like, and what about it? Yeah, Drew Seeley singing on that song, singing on the whole soundtrack. Like, I had a problem with anybody who had a problem with it. Now looking back, I'm like, ugh, like why'd they do that?
I put making a beat out of basketball dribbles was truly innovative and ahead of its time, though, because
Right.
like that was iconic. The intro to "Get Your Head in the Game" is
Boom, boom,
made
boom,
out of.
boom, boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. Shout out to Kenny Ortega, bro.
Yeah. I also wrote, I used to think "Get Your Head in the Game" is cool, but listening to it at 25, I'm realizing it's kind of corny. And like me and you kind of already talked about that. I feel like it's the only corny-ish song out of the first movie.
That's what I'm saying. Like if I'm looking at it from the soundtrack, I'm like, bro, like I really dislike Get Your Head in the Game now. Like it's the
Yeah.
weakest, wackest song on the whole thing. Like what?
Um,
And then especially that breakdown, or it's like like, oh, what, girl? Please, it sounded so 2006.
right. I also put who TF is J? Like, what does shoot the outside J mean? I don't know. I don't get that.
I should ask
Don't
Juwan
be
that because, like,
afraid.
is
Shoot the
that
outside J.
Jay?
What is that? I'm sure it has some meaning, but I
Mama,
don't
that's a J
know.
behind you because I don't know what.
And I put the team dancing in a circle around Troy. It's funny. Like at the breakdown, they're like just dancing around him in a circle, and I'm like,
Oh my god,
corny.
yeah. And as whack as Get Your Head in the Game is, no shade, no tea to Get Your Head in the Game stands out there. You know what I mean? It's just not for us. It's just not our cup of tea anymore. Um, and
But
like,
like that basketball choreography at the end, towards the end of the
yeah,
song, where they're like they're dancing with the basketball. I'm like, okay, that eats. That's innovative. That's ahead of its time. That's like Kitty Ortega. He went off with that bat.
right.
Like,
Not taking away from the cinematography, the choreography, or anything like that, but as a song, it's like, ooh, it's a
yeah,
job.
production wise, whoever produced it, y'all kind of
Tens.
it's giving 2006.
Yeah,
But
tens on film, cinematic, but music production. But it's like as a kid, I feel like Get Your Head in the Game just felt so big and so dynamic, and it's like, why
yeah,
am I feeling so wrong? My head's in the game, but my heart's in the song, and I'm like, oh my god, he's going through so much angst. Like this feels like so big. There's so many emotions. It just feels like so much, and I never like felt empathy with someone feeling so torn in a movie up until that point. So I was like so emotionally invested during Get
yeah.
Your Head in the Game as a kid. I'm just like, oh gosh, like Troy is really in despair. And so as a kid, I think that's what like played up into like it feeling like this big dynamic song. And then now that I'm watching it at 28, I'm like, like girl, if you don't get to practice, like cut it out. But I understand that, when you're a teen and you have like those hormones and you're experiencing like first love and you can tell it's an intense crush. You know what I'm saying? Like you can tell that he's definitely never felt this way about any girl in his life before. So I understand why I feel like they show the drama in a good way because it's like that is how it feels when you're a teenager. Like it's really gonna f you up. All it takes is 1 week. Yeah, and I'm down
Yeah.
bad, and all of a sudden I literally cannot think about anything else but this one girl, and it's making me have a literal existential life crisis because I'm like, do I even want to play basketball? how do I even feel about singing? Like, I can see why that would feel just like life shatteringly confusing for Troy.
Yeah. And I was also gonna say, like, the fact that after like they get back from New Year's, like the fact that this movie all takes place within a span of like a week and a half, basically 2 weeks. Like,
Yeah, because I'm like, how much time passed when they were like practicing for the callbacks? I don't know.
she was like, our winter musicale, is in like 2 weeks or something. The
Okay.
big game is 2 weeks away.
So it
So
ain't
it's
even been a
like,
month.
right, like all this happened within 2 weeks. Like, that's crazy.
And here I am thinking that the Twilight timeline of it all is crazy. Like, no, Troy and Gabriella
Literally.
OG fast paced relationship for real, for real. So it's like, I understand the despair of get your head in the game. And so for what it's worth, it does capture the teenage angst and confusion of it all. After that, I think we kind of just like go kind of into the status quo of it all, right? Like, what happens in between that?
Well, they go to detention. Um, and
Oh
then that's where
yeah,
we get
Troy's
the
dad was so
that's where we
mad.
get the iconic, what the heck are those two doing in the street?
What are those two doing in the tree?
That's when we get that
Oh
iconic
my
line.
god! Because I really thought that he was gonna throw bows on Miss Darbus when I was a kid. I was like, ooh, like Mr.
Yeah, they were
Bolton was
beefing.
pissed.
I have a note, I think, from when like Taylor and Gabriella were first starting to become friends. Taylor was like, you know, she was Gabriella was asking Taylor about like Troy, and then she was like, Troy's all right. And then Taylor was like, you should, hang with us. Taylor was like, unless you want to sit with the cheerleaders and discuss the importance of firm nail beds. And I'm like, excuse me. For those
Like,
listening,
Taylor, you
I'm
can be a
holding up
smarty
my
girl and be a
hands.
glam girl at the same time. I feel
Right.
like they
Like,
stereotype Taylor's character way too much on that end. Like,
I,
girl,
it's not vain or, vapid to, want to have firm nail beds. Like nails, I'm a nails girly. Nails has been my biggest hobby. So I'm like, okay, not too much on the firm nail beds of it all. So after that, Troy is trying to like sneak around, and he's like, for some reason, just goes to the auditions. And
yeah, because he's like, I wanna take a peek at this.
yeah, he
What's
wanted
going
to like,
on?
see what was going on. So I wrote, the fact that Troy has to do all this sneaking around just to get to the auditorium for auditions is crazy. As an adult, I'm like, do what you want and skip what your friends think. But as a teen, I can see why being accepted and not judged feels so important at that time. Because
Hmm.
like Troy went
I
through
had the same
like
feelings,
he went on a journey throughout that giant school
bro.
just to like go
And
the
it's like,
long
what?
way to get to the auditorium, just to hang out in the back and just watch the auditions. I'm like, he's doing all this, like that's so sad, kinda.
It is.
Yeah.
So glad that we view that the same as adults, because I'm like, I truly felt like bad. I'm like,
Yeah.
dang. And I used to be so confused as a kid, like when he almost got to he was closer to the auditorium and he had to go through the car fixing area. What was that?
I'm like,
Do they have a car
some high
repair
schools have
class?
like, shop class and stuff.
Oh, we're so far removed from that in
Yeah.
2025. Like, do they have? I don't know of any school at shop
I
class.
think it's just other schools are more bigger and funded than the schools we went to.
Yeah, or really any in Michigan. Because, like, what? That's
Yeah.
crazy. But I felt really bad too. But it was like, I thought it was really cute that Gabriella also showed up to the auditions too, where it's like, okay, like, we both up in here,
Wow.
now what?
Like we think the same things.
And I just really thought that Miss Darbus was like so harsh, dude. Like, when she was like, oh, okay, I'll audition, and she's like, no,
Right. Miss
too late.
Jarvis was she was a little much sometimes.
Yeah, but I'm glad that she
Um
stuck around and listened to Troy and Gabriella sing, and it also was really nice to see how kind he was to Kelsey.
yeah. When Troy and Gabriella were like in the back of the auditorium and they were like considering auditioning, Gabriella was like, are you scared? Troy? And Troy was like, I'm not afraid. And she was like, are you afraid? Troy's like, I'm not afraid. I'm just scared. Gabriella said, "Me too, usually." And I'm like, same.
Once
Anxious
again,
queen. Like, I'm also generally just always scared.
this ain't nothing new. But at
Yeah.
the same time, she reminds me so much of you in that way because even though you're both anxious queens, you're still always so brave and so courageous and you know what you want.
Aw.
And I thought about you in that moment because even though she was like, I'm actually might puke right now, suddenly she just was like impulsively like, okay, let's go up there. It's like, girl, what?
Yeah. We need to talk about Sharpay and Ryan finally because
Yes.
they're I feel like even though I know it's like technically we're not supposed to like this version of what I've been looking for since it's being like, oh, we had our pianist arrange it. You know, they're being all annoying about it. They're not going with what Kelsey wants. But like that song, their version really eats. You know, I never had someone that knows me like you do. And it's like, ugh, what a cute song,
Their harmonies
too.
were so on point. I love their harmonies doing that.
And
The way you do.
I know that's one of my favorite songs from the first soundtrack. And I'm also obsessed with Ryan's Jazz Square.
Bro, that tickled me too when I was watching it this weekend, bro. She's like, I told you not to jazz square. And he's
It's a
like,
crowd favorite. Everybody loves it. I'm like, yep, I love it. I love the Jazz
And I
Square.
love that they add those little bits with Ryan, like defying Sharpay here and there. Cause it's like,
Yeah,
bro, the freak, like
I'm gonna
I
do
have
my
vision
Jazz
too.
Square.
Yeah. Like, who are you to tell me?
Right.
And like at the end of the day, like you said, technically we're not supposed to like these characters, but it's like we have to give credit when credit is due. Like at the end of the day, Sharpay and Ryan.
Ashley Tisdale, she sold the heck out of that role. The fact, and we need to talk about it because we were so we had only known her from Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, where she was like the smart freaking like poor girl.
This showed her acting ability to the next level for us.
Where's her
Because we were like,
Grammy?
is that Ashley?
Where's her
What?
Grammy? Like, see, if you were there, you would know. It was a crazy like thing to see.
Yeah,
Like,
her do a complete 180 as an
right.
actress.
That was like she was such a good Sharpay.
Yeah, and we didn't know that she had that in her.
Yeah.
Because that is a good point. From going from her character being the poor girl in Zack and Cody to that, it's like, girl, this is a different person. Like,
Yeah.
Ashley, where are you? Are you in there? Because like, no, she is Sharpay. And that's the
Right.
gag about like her compared to every other character. Like, you can't tell me she didn't embody like method acting. Like, no,
Literally.
she
Like
was Sharpay when that camera was on.
that like it's just so good.
Yeah. And like we've talked about it on our own show that we had for a little bit where like giving her tens when it comes to her solo music just as much as Vanessa Hudgens, but even more.
That Headstrong album still genuinely is in my rotation to this day. Like
We still whipping
I have
together. When me and
listened
Janae are in the
to
car together, trust Headstrong is gonna come on
Be Good
rotation.
to Me, Over It. Won't you show me some baby?
Positivity. He said, she said, like the freak.
Won't you show me some baby? Show me that song Positivity on her Headstrong album. Like that's one of my favorites still to this day.
Bro, like put some respect on Ashley. Like for real. Like she really had us
And then
gagged, like
she
jaw on the
ate
floor with
as
that.
Candace in Phineas and Ferb.
Yeah. Yeah. She's just embodied every role when it comes to her Disney Channel reign.
Yeah.
For sure. But I would just say, like, as characters for Sharpay and Ryan, like, I do sympathize with them.
Lucas ate as Ryan too. Like,
yes.
Everybody was just so believable. Like, I genuinely, for me, High School Musical to me is what like Twilight or Harry Potter is to other people. Like, these are real people in my brain. Like, I don't know. It's
You
just
believe
like
in the characters.
Yeah, like I truly, whoever was in the casting room, like they deserve multiple awards simply for the casting of this movie alone.
Yeah. And I would say that I was saying that I do sympathize with Sharpay and Ryan because they are truly theater kids through and through in this movie, with their roles. Like Sharpay said, I've been in 17 school productions. Like when theater is life to that point where you've been in 17 school productions, you're not playing. Like we all know the intensity that comes with being a theater kid. So when that is your life, you truly live and breathe theater. So I understand why at that point it was such a big threat to them, because it's like we're the presidents of the drama club. Like, this is our space and this is where we feel safe. And it felt like, no, these intruders, like, I'm sure as a teen, when you have those big feelings, just like everybody's having the big feelings at the same time, I can see why that was like, no, hashtag threat. We got to get them the frick out of here because this is where we thrive.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't seem like Sharpay and Ryan have many friends but each other. And I think that that's something that more people need to talk about.
I mean, Sharpay in the second movie, she has her little posse.
Right. But are they really her friends, or are they just her yes people?
Right.
She seems incredibly lonely.
Aw. Darn.
Yeah. That's just how I feel about her.
I just want to say that the fact that Troy is nice to Kelsey and wasn't one of those mean kinds of popular people. Troy, he's just such a people person. He just had such a sweet, a kind heart. And, the people he hung around with obviously didn't feel the same for a little while. And so the fact that, he was just so kind to Kelsey and, he helped her when she fell and stuff. And it's like, you're the playmaker. I'm like, oh, you're such a sweetheart.
Yeah, I love that they, just as much as you liked, like, the way that they portrayed Taylor, I like the way that they portrayed Troy, because they could have made him like this annoying, mean jock. Yeah. But I like that they took a twist with it than like traditional media at the time. And we're like, no, we're going to make him actually nice and like have a genuine kind spirit.
Right.
Like you can tell he doesn't, he's not with that bullying crap. So I thought that was nice. And I also like the fact that it's very clear that Troy has never had any interest in Sharpay ever.
Yeah.
Even before Gabriella came in the picture. Like, because he could have just been like a jerk and fooled around with her and like play with her feelings just because that's how teen boys used to be back in the day, in high school as well. But he's like, I'm not even going to entertain her in any way, shape, or form. Not because
ball is life, literally. Like,
right.
I don't give a frack about Sharpay.
No, for real. Like, for as much as she pressed up on him, he could have like took advantage of her, but he didn't.
Yeah.
We need to give more of our chance to my girl Kelsey, for real though. Like, she, every time I see her on the screen, I'm just like, she's just such a sweetie.
I know. And like, she was such a good composer, a good lyricist.
I know. And then it was like for Sharpay to sit up here and be in Kelsey's face and then be like, how many of your freaking compositions have been chosen? 1. Get the frick out of my face. Like,
girl,
everybody got to start from somewhere. The freak.
Right.
Like, well, how you hating? Because this is Kelsey's composer debut. Finally, she's finally getting her chance. And then you go, like you said, take the song and then have the pianist change it up from what her original vision is. Like, I just feel so. You just feel for Kelsey. It's like, girl.
Yeah. So then we get to stick to the status quo. You can bet I'm nothing but net when I'm in the zone and on a roll. I put the fact that they're all like, tell us your passion. And then they immediately start singing about how wrong it is. It's so messed up. The thing of the whole theme of this song is so messed up. Like,
they gave every single person who confessed a false sense of safety and crushed it with their bare hands.
I know, like, humans aren't one-dimensional people. Like, people are allowed to have multiple interests. Like,
and I think that I love that this is showing us so many facets as children of human emotions. Like, we are gone through the gags of seeing Troy and his emotional anguish and understanding that journey and the complexities that come with learning that you can have multiple passions, you don't have to limit yourself, and then going into status quo and then them reiterating that point even more, I feel like is such a good lesson, because that's a good point. Like, we are not one dimensional, guys. Like, I saw a TikTok where they were like, why did like Chad have such a visceral reaction? I don't know if you saw me when I shared that, because when he was like, I like creme brulee, I like baking, and then Chad's like, like, guys,
Like, you
relax.
never wanted a little sweet treat, Chad?
Like, girl, y'all are really, really tired with it. Shout out to my boy who played the cello,
Right.
the skater with the
Shout out to Pop,
cello.
Lock, Jam, and Break.
And I
I like to
wrote that down.
pop, lock,
Lock,
jam,
jam,
and
and
break.
break.
Is
Why
that
didn't
even
you have
legal?
that on the t-shirt? I wrote that down as well. Martha saying that she likes to pop, lock, jam, and break was the plus size representation that I needed as a kid.
Yeah.
Like, that Martha was always my plus size icon. And so many things about this movie changed my life, and including that moment with Martha. Because especially during that era, it was peak Sierra era. I did not see any people in the media who were liking dancing and choreo. Like, I was just super into like my choreo era during that time.
Kristen wanted to be a pop star / hip hop star when she was little.
And I wrote that down. I wrote that down verbatim. It was like on a paper that was like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Pop star / hip hop star. So, because I got that Sierra DVD during her goodies era, and she had like a little choreography instructional tutorial type of moment on like the second CD. And I would pop that on, especially during like also the era of the Honey movie. For those who don't know about that. And Honey changed my life, because I'm like, I can be a choreographer, like, or either I can be a dancer. You know what I'm saying? So I really wanted to dance. And so seeing Martha be that representation, I'm like, oh, it's selling. And it just, my passion at the time only soared since then.
Because
Like,
you also like to pop, lock, jam, and break.
I did. I really did. Like, shout out to Martha, girl. I love you down. To this day, I still love her so much. Like, moments like that are just so important.
Yeah. Next, I have in all caps. This is not what I want. This is not what I planned. And I just gotta say, I do not understand. Something is
not right.
really wrong. I just feel like this is not what I want. This is not what I planned. I just gotta say, I do not understand. Like, even more relatable lyrics, even more relatable characters.
The fact that we still quote that when things don't go our way in 2025, I still say that.
Like, something happens, like, this is not what I want. This is not what I planned. Like, I don't understand this. Like, I don't get it.
No, like,
literally such iconic lyrics.
Yeah. I also wrote that after Sticks to the Status Quo, when Chad walks up to Troy and he's like, the drama geeks and brainiacs suddenly think that they can talk to us.
I wrote that down
so
too.
Mean.
I said that. I put, hello? That is so rude. OMG. Like, think they can talk to us? You're not God.
Like, who do you... And that's exactly...
And I said Chad might win the award for worst best friend, IDK. Because what do you see in this man, Troy? What do you see in this man?
And then at that point, it makes you realize that him and Chad are just friends because they've been friends for so long.
Right.
But it's like, bro, then that's when Troy's really entering his era of like, dang, I'm really outgrowing my BFF, because that's what it was giving.
It is giving.
And that singular week, Troy ascended.
He said, I might not F with these people no more. And that's like even an added layer onto his existential crisis. It's like, not only do I like this girl for the first time, not only am I interested in singing, but like my friends don't even vibe, with my journey.
And they're actually making it literal hell.
Right.
They're doing everything in their power to make it actually worse for me too.
This quite literally had the potential to be the worst week, the worst 2 weeks of Troy's entire life up to that point.
Because I would assume that he had a pretty easy life up until then.
Yeah. Did you see their house? It
Yeah.
was so big.
For real, for
Like, you're a
real.
freaking basketball coach. You got that kind of money? It was
I
also
know. Like, what
2006.
did mama
So,
do?
all right.
Miss Bolton. But that's crazy because that we both were on the same page with that. Because when he said that, I was like, that is so mean. And then telling Zeke to shut up
Right.
again
And he's
when he
trying
tried
to
to
talk
start.
about some creme brulee.
I know, because then it's like at that point when Troy came over, Troy didn't like hear the Zeke's confession, so Troy's like, "Oh, what?" And he's like, "I like baking." Shut up. Troy was genuinely interested,
Right.
like the king he is, and that's exactly I feel like Chad is what you would think Troy would be, but he's not.
Exactly.
Like Chad is the jerk. Chad's
In
the
a world
rude
of
jock
Chads,
jerk.
be a Troy. And a PSA to all men, PSA to all boys. In a world of Chads, be a Troy. Like, put that on a
Bro,
t-shirt, put that
no.
in a song. PSA to all men, PSA to all boys. In the world of Chad, be a Troy.
Sorry. That
Oh my god,
quote is taking
that's gonna be a
it.
good TikTok.
Oh my god, that quote is taking it, bro. So after everybody, the school has been like gone to chaos. Everything's gone to shite.
Everybody's mingling.
Everyone's mingling, and Chad is pressed that the geeks are talking to him, and Sharpay is upset. She accidentally got food thrown on her by Gabriella, and then Sharpay sprinkles it in Mrs. Darbus's head that they're actually trying to sabotage us and the drama club, and all of these freaks and geeks are all mingling and everything's all crazy, so everybody's out to get us. And we move on, and then Troy ends up being like late for practice, missing practice or whatever. Am I skipping any point between status quo and Troy missing practice?
I have some stuff. I wanted to talk about Sharpay's pink locker
Oh
because her
yes.
pink locker is just so iconic. Like, I want the locker. Everybody wanted the locker. I think that's still like in the East High to this day, that pink locker. So I'm like, that must have been so cool. And then Zeke came out to talk to Sharpay, and she's like, "Evaporate, tall person." I'm like, I'm gonna start saying that to people who bother me too. Like, evaporate, tall person. It's
Do you
such
know
an iconic
how
line
bothered you have to feel by somebody's presence
to
to
tell
want
them
them
to
to
evaporate.
evaporate? That's crazy work, girl.
Literally.
No, and it's like the fact that the status quo of it all had Deeks being like, "I'm gonna spill my tea and I'm gonna shoot my shot." That was a break. That was a crazy day for Zeke.
Yeah. This is Troy's worst week, Zeke's best week, actually.
He went home and said, "A win is a win." She spoke
Right.
back.
I also put that I'm just kind of obsessed with Vanessa's, Gabriella's line delivery in this movie. I put, she makes everything she says sound so dreamy, and especially when she talks to Troy. Like, Troy, I think you're a really good guy, Troy. And I'm like, I just wish to be just the way she is. She just a little dainty little feather floating through life, just being
Oh
so
my god,
sweet and beautiful. And I'm
she's so
just
sweet, so
like,
beautiful, so tiny, so
I
petite, so
know.
feminine.
I'm like, she just makes it, she just sounds just so teen girl, just so like sweet, like, I don't know. I'm just obsessed. I love, like, yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. And then like you have like the cute little moments where you know Troy invites her up to his little hideaway thing, and
On the roof. And
yeah,
then
and
that
like
became their spot.
I know, and then like just seeing like even amidst all the chaos and the fact that the school is like freaking out for no reason, and all of this is like actually just so stupid at the end of the day, but as a teen it feels so big and so scary, but it's like actually really pointless.
Yeah.
um they still are showing that they have like in-game potential in their relationship, because it like they're able to still remain like a piece at that point during the chaos, and her to like still give so much comfort to Troy, and like you said, say like, you're not like what everybody thinks you are. Like him hearing those things is important, and you should want to be with somebody who makes you feel good in that way. And I like that their relationship like starts off and healthy.
Yeah.
Like they're not
And
toxic.
I just thought it was funny when Gabriella was like, when I was just singing with you, I just felt like, a girl, not the genius girl. Like, I just felt like just a girl. And then Troy was like, you even looked like one too. I'm like, that's so funny.
I thought that did have me kicking. I forgot
Yeah.
about that joke with Troy. I was like, girl, no.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think I forget what happens, but then somehow the next note that I have is like after Troy missed his practice, it was so cute. Like the whole moment with them like flirting with each other,
In the
you know,
gym.
yeah, in the gym. And like I just love any moment that like as a kid I was eating it up. Any second that we could get Troy and Gabriella, because it was like the
When you
movie.
think about it, like, there's not really a ton of moments in that movie where it's just them two.
Yeah, and I think that the way that they have it set up, like a majority of their relationship is built off camera.
Yeah.
Like there's probably so many more conversations that they have together that we don't get to see as the audience. So whenever they did let us in, maybe that was intentional. I was eating it up. Yum yum, eat it up. Where to Gracie's corner, the freak. Like I was getting turned up. Like any type of moment we can get where it was just Troy and Gabriella, bro. I'm drooling down because of how much I literally love, laugh, live, and breathe seeing them together. Any interaction I used to eat up. So that gym flirt moment where they can just be kids together and laughing like used to literally make my heart swell. And watching it again as an adult, I'm like, I still live for them together in that gym and that whole little flirty scene.
Yeah.
Like they both look so happy. And then here comes mother freaking stanky Mr. Bolton ruining the moment, being
Right.
shady towards Gabriella, calling her Troy's detention buddy. And then he proceeds to say that Troy hasn't missed a practice in 3 years. But then that girl shows up. And then Troy was like, that girl is Gabriella.
Put
And
some
she's
respect
very
on her
nice.
name.
Like,
Put some
Janae,
respect on her name. In a world of Chads, be a Troy. And like, I put down Troy's dad and the team are treating this damn basketball team as if Troy's the head surgeon of the world's only hospital.
literally. And I just think that
Like,
that's
it's
like so.
basketball. It's basketball. I'm
It's never
sorry.
that serious.
It's basketball. It's high school basketball at that. Come on.
I don't understand. Mr. Bolton's worried about scholarships. Worried about scholarships. But Troy, he gonna be alright.
Right. Y'all are
He'll
rich,
be
obviously.
alright. First of all, he's white.
And y'all are rich, it seems.
Like he'll be okay.
Right.
Not to mention that he was a basketball star of the team before, so I'm sure he's got connections. Like, girl, and I'm glad that, like, not to skip ahead, but later in the movie, before they have the championship game, Mr. Bolton like basically apologizes and he's like, "Hey, at the end of the day, like from father to son, I want you to have fun most of all, and I'm sorry that I've put so much pressure on you. Like a lot of that pressure has come from me." I'm like that he had some type of accountability, because up until this point, we can understand why Troy has such an existential crisis leading up to this and basically having an anxiety attack during Get Your Head in the Game, because it's like all the freaking pressure that they're putting on him. And like even when Troy tried to have an honest conversation like I mentioned earlier, with him being like, hey, so like, what if you want to try something new, and like trying to genuinely like have father to son, not coach to mother freaking teammate. Like his dad's like still thinking all about basketball and being so serious, being like, you know how hard it is to get scholarships. Like, I'm not talking about that right now.
Right. Just be
I'm
a
talking about
dad right
me.
now. Be
Yeah,
a
like I
dad.
want you to be my dad. So that I feel like was such a missed opportunity when he met Gabriella, because it's like, okay, this is the first girl that you're really seeing your son around. You don't want to be a little bit nicer? You don't want him to like
Right.
girls at all? Be real. I understand he needs to keep his head in the game and you want him to be focused because he's a team captain, so the whole team is depending on him. But you don't want him to have some type of normalcy and be a regular team boy. What's you just gonna expect him to not have a date to prom?
Right.
Like, I just feel like all of that was like very strange. I think the way that Troy really took a stand in that moment, I'm sure was scary. It's like her name is Gabriella. She's very nice. The look on his face when he says she's very nice, something about the way that Zac Efron delivered that line was so perfect, because you can
Aw.
tell like Troy was a little bit scared to stand up to his dad.
Yeah.
But he's like, I would stand 10 toes behind mine.
Right.
She ain't even my girl yet, for real, but I'm feeling her, so you should support. Like, that should be a no-brainer decision as a dad, but he just wasn't picking it up. Like, stupid. Dads can be like, give it a picture, give it the program. No shade.
Yeah. So then there's like a whole, stage coup against Troy and Gabriella. Taylor and Chad sort of team up together to be like, let's actually, be mean to them for some reason.
I wrote down them sabotaging Troy and Gabriella's relationship before it even really started was crazy.
Yeah. Like, that's just so, like, so many terrible people are involved. Maybe not terrible, but it's like so incredibly selfish.
They're good people, but they're making selfish.
They're being so selfish. And like, that's just so like, do you not see and not hear how, like, you're supposed, listen, Chad, you're supposed to be Troy's best friend. Like, this is the time where y'all should be like, like, oh, I like this girl, like, woohoo.
And just as much as Troy's dad.
Yeah.
If this is the first girl he's feeling as a dad and as a best friend, you should be like, oh, tell me about her, bro. Like, oh, wow.
And then
you've been smiling lately. You've been cheesing. What's her name?
Yeah. And same with like Taylor and Gabriella. Like, you're supposed to be like, oh my God, I like this boy.
Yeah. They were stripped away from that excitement of the beginning, like that finding that new relationship feeling. Like, they had no support.
Yeah. So then, Taylor and Chad, they team up to sort of sabotage. Chad and the basketball team have sort of a intervention with Troy in the locker room, and Taylor and the, decathlon people have an intervention with Gabriella, and then they somehow connect some crazy freaking wires, and they get a live stream of what's going on with Troy and the team in the locker room, and they live stream it to Gabriella. And then Troy ends up being just so fed up, and so he's like, you know what, F it, I need to get these people off my back, so I'm gonna just say like skip Gabriella, and like she doesn't really mean nothing. So Taylor and the decathlon, smart people are in this classroom with Gabriella. They're showing her a literal live stream of the boy she likes saying F her and that she's not important. And like, everybody's just watching. That is so beyond cruel. Like,
that was the word I was going to use too.
Cruel. Like, not only is this just embarrassing in general, even if it was like just Taylor and Gabriella in that room, but then you got like other people around. And then the whole basketball team heard him saying that too, and they know that Gabriella's watching. Like, this is so mean.
And the fact that Gabriella even still came to school, because that's something that would make me be like, I'm not going to school. Like,
Mom, my stomach. Literally.
Heavy on mom, my stomach, heavy on I'm emailing my teachers and asking them to send me my homework for the rest of the week. Oh, the way that I'd find that teacher email, because that was one thing I used to do in high school as a chronic anxious girly, mental health day,
I
the
looked into
freak.
online school at that point.
No, you'd never actually see my face.
Literally.
You'd never see my face again at that motherfucking school. It's actually F a Wildcat. I don't even want to be. She handled it well because the way
Yeah.
that I would have tore into Taylor and them.
Right. And then Taylor gonna have the nerve to ask about right after that happened. She's like, "So will you be joining the decathlon?" Like, girl, GTFO. And then she asks, she has the nerve after that to ask, like, "You want to grab some lunch?"
No.
F lunch at this, like, F lunch, F food, F the decathlon,
F
like,
you
F
and
you,
everybody on this team.
like. Don't ask me about no damn lunch. Don't ask me about no damn decathlon.
Then that's exactly. Oh my god! I can't believe we literally watched this movie from like the same lens because I thought the same thing. I said,
Ain't nobody worried about no
2025
dang lunch.
asking me, do I want to go to lunch as I'm visibly crying?
Right.
Like Taylor blatantly ignoring Gabriella's tears would have had me swinging. Because one thing I hate about it is if somebody sees me crying and they ignore my tears. You're not going to be like, she didn't ask, are you okay? Oh, I'm so sorry. Like, no sympathy. No sympathy. Like, Taylor, you're blessed that Gabriella even chose to continue to be your friend up until graduation. Because the way that I would have had to been rocking with a new crew at that point, I guess I'll just find some other friends.
Right.
I wouldn't have gave her a second chance. That had me effed up for real, for real. That was so cruel. That was so mean. I can't believe that they were even able to get away with all of these things without even like getting caught by teachers. Y'all have too much time on your hands utilizing the school resources, cameras,
live stream equipment.
I'm surprised the teacher didn't walk in and be like, what are you guys doing to poor Gabriella?
Right.
They should have got detention or expelled for plotting something so mean.
Heavily needed to be involved in this whole week. Counselors very much needed to be involved this whole 2 weeks that was going on.
Literally. They needed to pull like a Mean Girls and like the principal and be like, everybody in the gym and the student population, let's have a chat. That whole school needed a talking to. For real, for real. On some Regina George things. Who's been personally victimized by Taylor? Gabriella. Let's talk about it.
Who's been personally victimized by Chad?
Troy. Like, are you kidding me right now? No, like that scene literally pissed me the freak clean off. So that was really, really messed up. And I was just really, really sad for Gabriella because I would have literally felt humiliation station after that. Like you said, everybody seeing it, everybody in your tea, like that is literally hashtag mortifying down. And then her going off into the hallway and singing, it's funny when you find yourself.
Like her sentimental song of the movie. I think that's like also one of my least favorites. And also, like, lyric wise, emotion wise, I think it is a good moment in the movie, but like song wise, it's not one of my favorite songs. And also the terrible mixing of Vanessa's voice and like there's some other woman who's singing the song.
Yeah.
Like the way
we needed a better engineer.
Yeah. It just wasn't it.
Yeah, that was crazy. And then like after, Troy is like literally about to jump off the roof of the greenery area. He's looking at the trees and the plants and he's like, I should just jump off this right now. Like, what if I, because he's like, I don't understand why Gabriella's not talking to me.
Right. And I'm going to eat my sandwich up in my area by myself, please.
No, literally. So not only has Troy, he's continuing to have the worst week of his life because not only has it already been hell, now it's even more hell because the one thing that made me feel good in all of this is not even talking to me anymore. So now he's for real depressed and he doesn't know why she won't talk to him. which good on Gabriella. At the end of the day, we have always said that we've always supported how good Gabriella is at standing up for herself, advocating for herself, and having boundaries.
Yeah.
Like that was disrespectful, and in the to her understanding, no context, he was tripping. So like, oh, it's actually Skip you. It should have been Skip Taylor and them too, but like whatever. Because even if she didn't know that like Taylor and them set it all up, why would you show me this?
Right.
Like, huh?
Or why would you not support me at least?
Right. It's just so everything about it is weird. Everything about it is weird, and I'm glad that not to skip ahead again, but they apologize for it as they should. But like, girl, what? So Troy ends up finding out that they actually sabotaged the whole thing. I would have threw Chad off of the freaking roof. Like,
But
hello.
that's why Troy and Gabrielle are such good people, because they forgive. So after that, the friends realize that they're wrong, and they're like, actually, we need to do something. We need to get them together. Like, all of this was sucky. We're really sorry. Um, and then Chad is
Well, even
like,
before we get into that, sorry, I just wanted to say that before they fully made up, when Troy came to Gabriella's house to apologize before she forgave him, I was like, how did she know where she lived?
on the Google. Sharpay Googled her. And,
He
Yellow
pulled up to her new
Pages.
crib. That was pretty. Oh, but like that apology moment where he went up onto her balcony.
This could
Like,
be the star.
star,
Like, oh.
that's exactly why us girls at the time grew up to have like these dating expectations, because when you see someone like the Troy Bolton being the most down bad, like most romantic person, kindest, sweetest, like just the best boy, you know what I mean? Like that was my standard at the time. Like I'm not even gonna cap. Like I was expecting every boy I like to act like that. You better be willing to climb up the tree on the balcony and serenade me and be on your knees, screaming, crying, and throwing up, like for me to take you back. Okay,
Yeah.
so she accepts his apology. Everyone, the whole gang realizes, oh shoot, we effed up.
Yeah, and then there's just joined effort to make things right, to make it so, you know, Chad finally supports Troy and is singing, and everybody's all happy. But then Sharpay and them are like, we need to actually sabotage them again. And so let's make the freaking callbacks, the decathlon, and the basketball game on the same day. So then they pull up to school, the original gang, Troy, Chad, and Gabrielle, and them. Kelsey standing there, looking at the thing, and it says, the callbacks, they're on the same day. And then Chad, his first introduction to Kelsey, she, was standing there, and he's turns to her and he's like, do you know something about this small person?
Small person.
I'm like, first we have evaporate tall person. Yeah, do you know something about this small person? I'm like, that is hilarious.
But it's like, it was like, okay, gang got the hammer and the wrench. Like, because like we at dawn we ride for Troy and Gabriella, because once everybody got a page on the same page, it's like this is the
then
energy that we
everybody made right, and then they deserve to sing that song at the end after that.
Exactly. But it's like, y'all, this is the energy that we needed y'all to have this whole time. Because when you see that, oh, this is effed up, Sharpay and Ryan are trying to sabotage Troy and Gabriella, now everybody's mad. As you should. You ride behind the people you love. So then that was kind of nice to see Chad was like, oh, I'm about to kill him.
Yeah.
Like, if my boy want to sing, he gonna sing. Like,
right.
That's the support we needed this whole time. I loved that part too. Yeah. And the small person of it all was like hilarious. And I love how we got to see like Kelsey grow as well, because she was like, I'm gonna stand up for this, and I believe in Troy and Gabriella, and I'm gonna continue to keep working with them, and we're gonna all make this happen. And then they like, as soon as they find out, Troy's like, all right, team, we're going to figure this out. And they concoct their whole big plan to make it work. So that way they're like, okay, well, you want to change the time of the auditions while we have our decathlon in the game? We gonna still show up.
Right.
I love that, the plan.
Yeah.
Like, it was so funny to me when the time came for the callbacks and we see like Troy's like, okay, where I'm gonna do my game. Gabriella, she's doing the decathlon. And then when Taylor's like, all right, beep, 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 boop, boop, set the thing
And
off.
she makes the chemical reaction, and then everybody has to evacuate.
Right. And then Taylor's face when the chemical reaction sets off, like, always makes me laugh. Like you said, Taylor starts a chemical reaction, so they have to pause the decathlon, and then she sets off something, the wiring in the gym, so then they have to pause the game. So that allows
And then
both of them.
everybody from both sides, they all end up going into the auditorium. And Sharpay and Ryan had just did Bop to the Top for their auditions, which is an iconic song. I'm a little confused why the random like Latina influence.
And that's what I thought too. I was like, does this count as cultural appropriation?
Why is this?
Is this offensive?
Yeah, it was like, now that I think about it, I'm like, why couldn't have been just like a normal song? But yeah, Bop to the Top is a bop, 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 bop to the top, wipe away your inhibition. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then so they do their audition, Sharpay and Ryan, they're done with that. And then that's when everybody starts filing into the auditorium. And then now it's time for Troy and Gabriella to do their audition. And,
Ms. Darbus again is being a little bleep because, like, girl, okay, you called her name twice. Who cares? We're here now.
Right.
30 seconds after you called her name.
She only was okay with them doing it after all the people came in, And
then the theater, musicals. Girl, get the frick.
Like, girl, we're the reason everybody's even here. Nobody wanted to watch this crusty musical until Troy and Gabriella came on the scene and was like, actually, musical is cool. And then everybody's like, yeah. The crusty but yeah, so then they start their song, Troy and Gabriella. Kelsey is like, I'll do the piano, and then Gabriella, she has her stage fright. She's like, I can't, with all these people looking at me. And then, she wants to get off the stage, she's scared. But then Troy, he's just like, hey, look at me, right at me. And I literally melt on the spot. Troy's reassurance was so sweet. I'm like, literally, PSA to all men, PSA to all boys, in a world of a Chad, be a Troy. Like, that was just he is just such a sweetie dreamboat. I love him.
He's literally the dreamboat of my childhood. I don't care. I literally don't care. Like, I don't understand why I still love Troy Bolton so much. Literally. Like, he's the best boy. That was so cute. Kelsey being there with them was just so sentimental. And the fact that Mr. Bolton came around that corner and got to see Troy sing.
Yeah. He's like, wow, And I also think, breaking free and like listening to the lyrics, we're soaring, flying. There's not a star in heaven that we can't reach. Like, Breaking Free is actually such a beautiful song. Like, the lyrics were just so beautiful. And like, I just loved, like, and then just their performance together, like their voices. Well, Drew Seeley. But
they sold it on the chemistry.
Yeah.
Via cinematic.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like it's got to be the best song on the soundtrack.
Yeah.
I would say.
So then they kill the audition. And then everybody's like, yeah, we love you. And then they get to go back to the auditorium, and then they finish the basketball game, which is iconic.
I know. That's what I love about it, too. It's like, Okay, we had the intermission, and then we're able to just go back and kill it.
And then Troy locked in, and then they freaking won.
I also love the lore of the like championship because I never realized that they were playing the West High Knights.
Yeah.
And that's the big game in High School Musical 3 is who they're playing against too.
Yeah.
I was like, oh wow, I never put that connection together. So I love that.
Yeah. And so then they win, and then everybody's like, yay. And then that's when you know, Troy's like being celebrated, and then Gabriella comes in. She's wearing this beautiful red dress, and she just looks so
Word to Nick Jonas.
she just looks so beautiful and so stunning. And then, the fact that at the end sequence in the gym, Troy and Gabriella kept like almost kissing, but then they kept getting interrupted. It's like that was such a frustrating time as a kid. Like,
bro, the anticipation that they were building, like literally me as a kid, I was tweaking, like scratching, foaming at the mouth, like, girl, don't keep doing this to me. I swear to God, I'm about to literally pop off on Kenny Ortega. Because if you play my feelings one more time,
Kenny didn't direct the movie. I don't think.
I thought he was the director.
I think he just choreographed.
Let's look this up. Director Kenny Ortega.
Okay.
Yeah.
He ate.
Yeah. And it's like, it's supposed to make us frustrated, I know. Right? Like, you're supposed to feel the anticipation and build up to that between them. But it's like their chemistry is so freaking good that you're just like, come on, kiss already. Like, everybody is clearly like, can we read the room? This is exactly why y'all gave us a hard time before we got together, because y'all couldn't read the room that we want to be together and have a little moment together.
All right.
If I were them, I would have just literally ran away from the gym and like went and like made out in the locker room, because like, Jesus Christ, you can't even have a piece alone.
Yeah. And so then, everybody's just excited. Everybody's jumping around.
Chad
asked Taylor, he's to the after party. He's like, so you're going with me to the after party, right? And then Taylor's like on a date? And then Chad's like, yeah, it must be your lucky day. I'm like, yeah, lady voter gone. Like, ew, lucky day.
Ick.
Like, that, I got such an ick. And it's like,
it just makes you realize, like, as an adult, like, I never realized how problematic Chad really is.
He had me blind because I was too busy looking at how beautiful he was when I was little. But I'm like, wait, you actually kind of suck.
Kinda? Fully. He's awful. He's awful. He's self-absorbed. He's self-centered. Like, literally so just, ugh. Like, what do you mean? And the fact that Taylor, at the end of the day, she's just a girl. I understand that. She's just a girl. And if I was Taylor, like you said, I'd be blind too. Because at the end of the day, she's got eyes.
Right.
Chad is hot. So, of course, she's like tweaking out. Oh my God, he asked me. But it's like, Taylor, I thought we were smarter than this.
Literally. Like, must be your lucky day.
I would assume that comment would immediately make her be like, ugh.
It would make me be like, ugh.
Right.
Like, who the frick are you? I'm a brat when I'm up with that. Like,
track when I'm up with that. Like, the freak, get the frack.
Yeah. And so then, after that, Troy gives Kelsey the basketball, and that
was like, so sweet.
Here's your prize, playmaker. And she's like, oh, thanks. TF, I'm gonna do with this. And so she's just kind of sitting there holding the ball. And then, Jason comes up.
Bro.
He notices.
I'm sorry. Give me a
So Jason comes up to Kelsey. She's holding the basketball. Jason's on the basketball team. He notices her. He takes her hat off, lets her hair down. I'm like, okay. She's like, she's so cute. She's so beautiful. And then he helps her throw the ball into the net.
And that's when we get the first inklings of the Taylor and Jason lore.
You mean the Kelsey?
I mean, yeah,
Kelsey and
what?
Jason.
Yeah. Even though they didn't end up going to prom together.
Oh, yeah. They put him with Martha instead. And then Kelsey ended up being with Ryan.
Yeah. But it's
Why?
like, no, it should have been.
That's a bad idea.
Right.
I think they
I never understood that.
Yeah. But, so yeah, I just wanted to talk about how freaking gorgeous Kelsey is. Because I'm like, now that they got her out of them ugly hats and let her hair down, I'm not saying that you can't be beautiful with a hat and your hair up, but like
she had the composer uniform on though. She was living the fantasy, and I love that for her.
Yeah, but in that red, shirt, she just looks so beautiful. And then We're All in This Together starts, and I'm like, again, as an adult now, listening to the lyrics, I'm like, ugh, the song just has such a beautiful and sweet message. Like,
I know, but then it was like I was so side-eyeing Sharpay because I forgot where her line was. Something about like we'll work together, now we're here type of energy.
We stuck together. I think she redeemed herself because at the end she was like, well, I guess I'll be your understudy, so break a leg, Gabriella. I'm like, okay, you had 5 seconds,
way more than
5 seconds of being kind at the end of the movie. Like, I guess you deserve a line in the song,
and that's so typical Disney bully.
Yeah,
every Disney bully has a moment where they're like, well, at the end, and it's like,
you want fair and square.
It's like, girl, that's not enough for me. But like we said, Troy and Gabriella are kind. But me personally, I'd have been like, you break a leg, get the frick out of my face. Like, spit, like, get the freak.
But yeah, she earned her little spot in the freaking We're All in This Together song, I guess, with that one redemption
no, she didn't.
line. And I put Kenny did his big one with the choreo at the end.
Best choreo, bro.
Like, I love the choreo for We're All in This Together. We're all in this. Like, it's so just so cute.
Everybody ate on the choreo. I was like, Zeke, you better turn up.
Yeah.
And then they had that moment where like somebody went up in the air and then Sharpay walked through it.
Yeah, they lifted Ryan up and then Sharpay walked.
I was like, okay.
This is so well. Like, for this to have been like, I don't want to say low budget because like, but it was a risk. Like, this was the first time they had done anything like this for Disney Channel.
Disney was not trying to give them a budget for real,
right?
For this film.
So like, for what they had, they made so much work, and like, it's just such an amazing like first installment to the series.
Yes, they wrapped it up beautifully with We're All in This Together.
Yeah, and then I put the part towards the end of the We're All in This Together where it starts off with Troy and Gabriella and they are dancing, and then Sharpay and Ryan come in and dance, and then the rest of the main cast all comes in and dances together. I'm like, that's just so iconic, and I literally kind of got chills. I'm like, look at these people, my Shayla.
Oh my god, my Shayla. My Shayla.
My Shayla, my High School Musical. Like, I love this series. I love High School Musical so much. I love these characters. They're real to me. As you can tell, they're real to me.
No, like heavy on it, slime Barbie on it. Like, I truly, truly, truly feel the same. Like, the journey that this took us on as kids, it just meant so much. And then like for the escapism of it all, for like the rough times of life that we went through throughout the saga, like it growing with us, it just meant so much. Yeah. And then the fact that we get to the third movie and it's like in the theaters.
The third movie being in theaters was truly revolutionary. Also, at the very end of the movie, there's a moment with Sharpay and Zeke because Zeke like baked Sharpay some cookies, and at first she was like, "F them cookies," but then she ate the cookies, and then she
was so nice of Ryan to be like, "Hey, Good game.
Yeah. She ate the cookies and she was like, these cookies are magic. Like, I need you to make me so many more. And then she like grabs onto Zeke, and like that's the beginning of the Sharpay and Zeke, relationship. And that's just so cute. Like,
Which
I
once
just love
again, I feel
that.
like going forward into the lore through the rest of the saga, it's like, girl, y'all did not capitalize on the Sharpay and Zeke of it all
Right.
enough.
Like, I want to see way more of their relationship. Like, they were
Seriously.
seriously cute together.
They are. Like, they really actually did look good together. I was like, oh, I'm believing in the fantasy. And then, like,
And
we
like
go into high school.
that part in High School Musical 3 where they're sitting next to each other at the graduation, she leans
Like,
her head on him. We're getting ahead, but
because when
like,
you say down since day one ish, like, no Usos, WWE, like, it's down since day one. Like, you can't say that Zeke ain't been your rider.
right.
You know what I mean? So for her to go into High School Musical 2 and then immediately be like, Troy again, it's like, no, what about those mother freaking cookies? It's like they kind of undo the redemption arc that Sharpay has at the end of this film into the second one. It's like, hold on, what happened?
Yeah.
I guess that was last year. Summer hit, she reset.
Yeah.
Or actually, no. Was that the same year? No, just think about it because you're like,
I was
summer.
trying to think about that too, but I'm like, I would like to think that
This was the following.
That was the end of
junior year
into senior year, but they're in 10th grade in this one.
Yeah,
I think.
Okay, I was gonna start tweaking, bro. Like, heck no. Yeah, we stand the Sharpay and Zeke of it all, like the freak. And I really wish they could have just played more into. I just would have had a nice moment if they just would have started with the Kelsey and Ryan rather than Jason.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's High School Musical 1, y'all. Ugh. I feel so cozy right now.
I know.
Don't you?
I kind of want to watch it again this time, but since I'll get to enjoy it more since I won't have to be taking notes.
Yeah, run that back tonight.
Yeah.
On the gang.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I had so much fun hanging with you all, the listeners, and Janae, taking a deep dive into this film. Like, clearly we had a lot of fun opinions and takes on this film. It just means so much to us. Like, love it down. And I would say that overall, for what it's worth, the film is not bad for it to be like the worst one out of the whole three.
Yeah.
Like, it's not bad, but I wouldn't say it's like great either. But because of the nostalgia of it all and the connection that we have with the characters, it's like, it's gonna eat though.
Yeah.
But worst soundtrack, I'd say.
I don't even want to say worst. I would say just rough.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you so much, guys, for joining us. I had so much fun. Like I said at the beginning of the episode, we will be back talking about High School Musical 2, which I am so excited for because High School Musical 2 is my favorite. Is it yours?
No.
Okay, you're a 3 girl. So if you're listening to this now, make sure you guys go and watch High School Musical 2 in preparation for us to talk about it next week. Like I said at the beginning, if you're watching on YouTube, like this video, comment down below to let me know what you thought about the episode and what you think about High School Musical, the first movie. And like, subscribe, Spotify, Apple, rate that 5 stars, leave that review. And of course, follow me on socials at A Little Bit A Lot Podcast on TikTok. Well, shoot, TikTok might not be around for too long. Instagram. And you can also connect with me with my other hobby with coloring at Coloring with Kristen. You can also follow Janae on her coloring account, Janae Colors. She sometimes dips and dabbles into that as well. And we do buddy colors together every once in a while. So that's fun. And yeah, so thank you so much, Janae, for joining me. I had such a good time with you.
I had a good time too.
Yes, and we will be back with it with High School Musical 2. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Foreign cars, I make rich look richer. Save your breath, baby, I'm not going home with ya. Mini skirt on, take my body in